Peace, family.
Peace.
Good morning, y'all.
Sunday Sitting with Sisters. I'm here with my queen, Rolanda.
Yo.
My queen, Dr. Strawn. And I'm
Hello,
your girl,
hello.
Dana Maisha.
Dana Maisha.
Dana
Maisha. Give me the origins of your name, Maisha, because I really like it.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I think, okay? Because I don't know for sure. I was told that it means life in Swahili. I think.
I can see that.
Nice.
I was told that it means life, yeah. So I use that, Dana Maisha, because those are the two names that my parents gave me. So I don't know. I just like it. I feel like I'm Dana Maisha.
Because you are Dana Maisha.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are Dana.
That's what's up.
Hi, y'all. How y'all week been? What's up? What's good?
It's fabulous.
Oh, it was good. It's been good.
It's been good? Well,
yes.
Well, can you tell us about this show here? This queen got a radio show.
Yeah, talk about that.
Is it Etta Radio?
It's Etta Radio.
ETTA Radio.
ETTA.life. So if you go through the website, which is www.etta.life, and then you do the little drop down box and you click onto Etta Radio. And I'm on Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. and then again at 9 p.m.
Oh, so you doing too?
Yeah, trying to make sure that those people who can't catch it in the morning will be able to catch it at night. And that is Pacific Standard Time.
Okay.
All right, that is Pacific Standard Time.
Okay,
Right
queen.
on.
Right
So,
on.
yeah. So really excited about that.
That's good. How's it going?
It's going good. You know, recognizing that it, you know, for putting this out there for those who want to do TV or radio and you're just starting, it's going to take some consistency and dedication, right? And it's also stretching me to do the whole marketing thing, right? And so just learning about being consistent in that way as well,
right.
You know, putting the information out there and letting people know that I'm coming on, when I'm on, and interacting with that. So that's really pushing me to grow and to stretch in that area. So I'm really, you know, excited about that. It's also pushing me to get out and
do what?
and mingle and, you know, do the networking.
So do you not like doing that? Because I see you at the mixers. I see you at the mixers, girl. You don't be shy.
You know, once I get there, right? But it's just the whole thing of, you know, having to relax and lean into it. That is not this, you know, big monster that's going to eat you up, right? So sometimes when it's stuff that you don't do, and like for me, I've spent all my adult life in the military.
Okay.
And so it's like doom. You know, you have this, and with being an entrepreneur, you know, you gotta figure that stuff out. You gotta be able to ask questions and allow yourself to do stuff that, you know, that doesn't have a manual.
Right. So you gotta
see what I'm saying?
And you gotta use that mother
right. Because when you're talking about, you know, the military, we have manuals.
Right. And operating procedures.
Yes.
Standard operating
procedures.
The whole government
all of
has.
that. Yes. You have that.
And it don't even. No, I'm not going to even say
so
that.
You know, if someone comes in, and this is, you know, stretching it a little bit, but if someone comes in and they blow their nose and it sounds weird, you know, it's one of those things where, we have a manual for that. So when they come in, the nose blow and it sounded like, okay, with the.
We have a manual for that. That's cute.
And we have steps that you go through. But now, starting this part of my life and really moving things forward, there's no manual.
So you're really good at following instructions.
Yes.
See, yeah.
Of course, because just like, you know, one of the things I'll say this because last week, and we have to be okay with checking our ego. Okay? Be okay with checking your ego when you ask the creator for certain things and when you're looking to grow, right? And so last week, because I process things a certain way, and remember when we were talking about, and I mentioned that you and Rolanda, to me, in my perspective, are very analytical people. I mean, look at her and how she got. If y'all could be in here and see how this woman has this stuff set up, my head just, you know.
This is our queen producer.
Right?
Y'all so cute.
But then I mentioned that, and so, and I'm sure some people saw it and kind of catched it, and how Rolanda checked me on that.
Oh,
Right? Because she said, and that's just it. That's why I said, for me, I had to kind of check. I was like, what the hell? But she said, when I said analytical and I went into kind of explaining that, and she's like, no, all you have to do is write down what you need to do, and what you want to say. And then she said, that's really about being prepared. Right? By being prepared.
No, because I didn't get it.
But here's the thing, though. Sometimes stuff is said and done because you didn't get it because it wasn't for you.
Right, but I do need to be prepared too.
So,
but okay, I'm gonna let you have your thing.
But see, here's the thing, though.
I think it's a thing about
Rolanda,
basically.
Go and give me my stuff because I'm prepared.
Okay. Right on, sis. I like that.
Okay.
Hey.
Give her some love, queen.
Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, no, right on. You right on. I'm laughing my butt off because it's like that.
So here's the thing.
But I get you, sis.
Here's the thing. So I got it. So I was listening to Oprah Winfrey this morning. She was doing a little speech, but she mentioned this poem. And it really caught me, and it's called "I Am a Black Woman." And I think it really holds to the perspective of what we do here in our conversation and how we are able to really agree, disagree, and be okay with that.
Right on.
And learn from each other, right? And so the poem is by Marie Mari Evans. So if you want to go and pull that up, and it says, "I am a black woman. The music of my song, some sweet arpeggio of tears, is written in a minor key, and I can be heard humming in the night. Can be heard humming in the night. I saw my mate leap, screaming to the sea, and I, with these hands, cupped the life breath from my issue in the can break.
Right on.
I lost Nate's swinging body in a rain of tears and heard my son scream all the way from Anizo for peace he never knew. I learned Da Nang and Pork Chop Hill in anguish. Now my nostrils know the gas, and these trigger-tired fingers seek the softness in my warrior's beard. I'm a black woman, tall as a cypress, strong beyond all definition, still defying place and time and circumstance, assailed, impervious, indestructible. Look on me and be renewed.
Right on.
So know that everything that you do or think you've done, we've done it. It comes from us. We are that life. We are that light. Yeah. And if y'all really want to know how to make this world a better place, I would suggest starting with showing some love and respect to the black woman.
Oh, yeah. You know we done. Look, we. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
We just saying.
Ooh, y'all got me weak.
I concur.
Right on.
Okay.
Well, that brings me to the topic. I'm glad you started off with that, y'all, Dr. Strong, because we're going to talk about a few things this morning. But the first thing, somebody posted something about intergenerational trauma. Can we use some wisdom to deal with that, intergenerational wisdom, because we know it's a part of our DNA.
Right.
So with that being said, what are some of the things you think that's intergenerational trauma that you think we experience, or even in your own family, or however you want to look at it? What is some intergenerational trauma, but how can we use intergenerational wisdom to deal with some of this? Because let's face it, y'all, our ancestors didn't have none of this technology. Right. They didn't have none of these cute words like complicit bias and all that crap. Right. They knew who they were dealing with. They knew the beast. They knew the consequences, and they still continued to love each other, to make it through. They gathered some strength from somewhere to make some stuff happen. Right. And with that being said, what are some of the traumatic stuff we experience intergenerationally? However, what's some of that wisdom that we can use to deal with some of this? Because we know that it's in the DNA. Just the way crazy stuff is in your DNA, so is brilliancy is in your DNA.
Right.
It's all there.
Right.
So I would say, some of the things that, for me that I would say is, we have this thing, like sexual assault, domestic violence, those are like the hard hitters, if you would say. The beating, right? To force each of us to comply, right? So you think about where all of that came from. And like you said, again, that goes back to the fact that it is in our DNA. Because, some of us choose not to really believe that the Willie Lynch letter and all that kind of stuff really was real. Right? But even if you don't believe that the letter itself was real, the concept and the behaviors that came from that thinking was real.
Yeah,
we know that. People who deny it practice it. That's what I always say.
Right? And
so somebody a thief, and they be like, I ain't stealing. They got all they stolen stuff on.
Girl, stop.
So people kill me with that. We know that that's real. Because you talk about the Willis letter. It ain't real. I've gotten that a lot from people. Just like black on black crime ain't real. Like, we be like black love, black business, but black on black crime. No. That's just as real.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, come on, y'all.
And that's part of it too. And so, so how do we go from that and go to that wisdom? I think one of the things that our ancestors did before some of the eras that we talked about before, like the crack area and the, moving out the skill jobs, if you will, they would sit and have these conversations about what do you need to do for some of this stuff not to affect you, and not just saying, oh, Uncle Johnny or Auntie Annie Mae, they just sick, right? You go into these conversations and really asking, what happened? How is this making you feel? And really working on, again, it comes back to a lot of stuff, holding people accountable for these behaviors.
It's a scary word.
Yeah.
Holding people, we don't do that.
Right. So are you saying that that's some of the wisdom that we can gain?
Yes.
Like the things that they didn't do that kind of make us still
and
carry on.
it also goes to the conversation that even Rolanda and I were having earlier before everything started, about sometimes we have to really own our shit.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I recognize that I was in a marriage to someone who, felt like beating me on the weekends was a part of life. Right?
Okay, I know this might be traumatic. Only on the weekends, though?
Yeah.
Why on the weekends?
Because maybe he had time. No, I was kidding. I'm sorry.
I'm not trying to make.
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay.
Yeah. But see, that's the part that I can really hone in and I remember, because that's how it started. Now, it doesn't mean that it didn't go into other weeks, because when you make a decision within all of that. So one of the things I had to call myself on is the fact that, okay, after the first 6 months is when all of this started, right? The abuse started. But I stayed. I stayed like almost 5 years.
Whoa, that's a long time.
Right? So just think about what is going on in that time. Yes, the abuse is still happening, but like Rolanda and I was talking earlier, there's a part in that I had to, in order for my healing to start and to really happen, I had to own some of that stuff. I had to own that even in all of that, I was staying, and I was saying, well, I don't really have any place to go. I don't have this and I don't have that. And I bought into those thoughts when the reality is you have to really decide and know that, okay, what's more important? Are you going to continue to stay to get your ass whooped, or you just going to get up and do something and make a way?
So Ia Colette has a comment. She says we carry a lot of our ancestral power in our wounds. That is why we must do the work needed to heal. We must honor our wounds, speak to her, thank her for allowing us to continue as a Black nation. All life comes through her. Right on, Ia.
Yes.
Right on, Ia. Khadijah just coming in. The topic we're talking about a lot right now, we're talking about intergenerational trauma, intergenerational wisdom, how we can heal ourselves or honor ourselves or do better by ourselves, basically.
Right.
Right.
That's kind of, we're talking about a lot of stuff. You know how we get at
You know how we
Even
roll.
though we get ready to get into some stuff because this may go a little backwards then because now we jumping on some
That's
stuff.
fine. What is
but
Sunday
that's great.
Sitting with Sisters?
Yeah,
You know
that's
how
great.
we do it.
Right.
Let me get this one.
Go ahead, sis.
Our elders.
Bring them up.
That's okay.
No,
Our elder.
No.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Our elders use the truth as a means of keeping their families safe. Intergenerational trauma needs to be defined as compounded stressors, which are relived over and over again. We must ask our families how they are feeling and allow them an opportunity to bring their experiences that were negative to the light. We must be able to be a hearing space of safety. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah.
with that. I will say this, though. I think when you look at intergenerational, I think I try not to look at what I have available to me today and the freedoms and benefits I have
Yes.
today.
Okay.
I don't put that on my mom or any of my foremothers or fathers because I'm pretty sure they didn't necessarily have as much freedom as we have right now.
Right.
I'm not saying we free, we can go build a tree or whatever, but I'm saying, because they'll be like, no, I can never compare myself.
Yeah.
My absolute worst day is better than my ancestors' best day.
Right.
So I'm very clear on that. I'm just saying they had to use some form of tactic to survive white supremacy, colorism, and all of those things I named last week.
Yeah.
But more importantly, and I'm going to tell you why I brought this up, because in one of my sessions this week, I had like 25 girls or so in the class, and we were talking about love, and they went to talk about sex and whatever, like their first time, whatever, and people who were virgins, like really encouraging people, like it was a great conversation.
Yeah.
And then one of the girls in the conversation said, well, what if your first time wasn't something that you approved of? Like and she tried to say it very nicely. And I said, no, just say what it is. Because that's how I talk in the session.
Right.
And she said, what if the first time you were raped or whatever? And I said, we're going to honor that. Because at this point, the room is split. It's like girls who were not virgins, girls who were, and then girls who went like first, second, and third base, but they didn't do a home run. So the home run is when you weren't a virgin anymore.
Yeah.
And so you go for these three sides to 6 girls being on the side where they had never been sexually assaulted or molested or incested or any of that, to all the rest of the girls being on the other side of the room. Now that was very telling, because this was a class full of black girls. And I'm saying to myself, then we started talking about stuff like value. How do you think your body is sacred? That they had any bearing on the decisions that you're making, not to, kind of, little, sort of, or all the way. And to me, that was a real conversation, because I said that I learned that I always ask questions to learn. I don't try to act like I know what they want to feel or say.
Right.
But a lot of the girls talked about their self-worth and necessarily not holding their bodies sacred, because they really didn't know what that word meant, right? When it came to their bodies.
Yeah.
And I'm saying there's something wrong where we're in a class, and these girls are in high school. This has been their experiences, and that's so not okay.
No.
Right.
And I know we don't talk about that out loud. We don't say, let me tell you about my experience. I know we don't talk like that.
Right.
No.
In our community. I ain't even gonna front and act like you sit down with your grandma. Grandma, has something like that happened before? Unless your grandmoms, were, a little different. Like sometimes we have people in our community who didn't raise any of their children.
Right.
I had one. It was like my grandmother on my dad's side didn't really raise any of her children. It's just 3 sets. Some may say 4. But my thing about it is, even she doesn't talk about that. Because now she's just grandma, and we respect her,
Right.
because she's our grandmother,
Yeah.
However, we don't know what happened with her,
Yeah.
to why she had so many different sets of children in a time where that was not popular. Let's be honest.
Right.
Let's just keep it all the way on solid. Everybody wasn't living the way we living right now.
Right.
We didn't have access to the internet. We couldn't hook up nobody in the club. You didn't even go to the damn club.
You went to a juke joint, maybe.
Right, but I mean, you didn't really.
Well, you didn't really
stuff.
go,
We didn't really talk. I mean, people worked all day,
Yeah.
And people in my ancestor line were what they were called domestics, like a maid or a butler or a chauffeur or formers, or that's who my bloodline was. So I don't say that like all of us were judges, so we didn't have that experience. So I don't know what that's about. But I'm just saying, I think people never talked about even family secrets. There's people that we know their dad is not who we thought their dad was, and it could have been uncle something. We don't talk about stuff like that.
Right.
But that's intergenerational trauma, and it
Right.
repeats. And so, for instance, if your son or husband or somebody touched your daughter, why don't people talk about that?
Right.
Why don't we protect the man at all costs like that, even if it means that, a lot of our worth as women comes from what we learned our moms and other women around us valuing.
Right.
And I know we don't like to talk about that.
Right.
Because then it's like, because that's where that responsibility as a woman, all the blame gets put on her.
Yep.
And then we wonder why we have men who don't like to really show up and be accountable. That's not an easy topic to have. It's just not.
No, it's
So
not.
we're going to talk about some of this healing. We got to talk about some of how we rear our children and, the stuff that we condone and why do we protect this person so much, but don't, why we love our sons or our men and then raise our daughters and women. Like, we don't want to talk about that because that ain't cute.
Nope.
I'm just saying, and it's a hard thing.
Right.
It's a hard thing. And most of the stuff we learn through behaviors, how we see each other acting out. It's not like we say men are important. I'm just using this example as men. It's what we do. Peace, Brother Timothy. It's what we do, how we live our lives that show people who is valued.
Right.
Were you going to say something? I'm sorry. I know Sister had a comment on here.
I was going to read Peace Queen. As a child living in the 1950s, family secrets were the means of making sure everyone is our
I don't even see the thing.
family unit, loved them, or did not judge them harshly. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Okay,
I get what
down.
she's saying.
Break that down.
So what she's saying is that family secrets, basically, let's say if Uncle Timbuktu, everybody's like, okay, don't sit on his lap, don't go nowhere near him, blah, 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 blah. But they never said why. I'm just using that as an example.
Okay,
they never said why because they were protecting the people from him, but also protecting his reputation.
I agree with that. I think that's what people did back in the day. But I also know, even though we did that, there's still people who had experiences with Uncle. Because he don't rape you in front of the whole family. Right. Because you just didn't sit on his lap.
Just went
Right.
I'm sorry. But I agree. I understand what she's saying. A lot of us do. We had that. My mom had rules. You don't sit on men's lap. You don't. All of us are big chested. So you don't hug a man from the front. You do a side hug. Definitely don't. It's just little stuff. We couldn't come downstairs with our night clothes on, even if we have a beautiful house robe on. Like, I think they were giving us things to protect us.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that because that's what they learned. These weren't people who had. This is a complicit bias. See, I think sometimes we mix all of the stuff the soft talk that we learned here. In this time with just being like, no, Thanksgiving holidays are coming up. We got a lot of people suffering from depression because this is the holidays. This is where we do family stuff. All of that stuff comes up. But nobody wants to talk about the cousin you think is crazy because, she always cussing people out and she get angry when she's drunk and you don't want to get drunk and she going to start probably telling the truth. I mean, we got to talk about that.
Yeah, you don't, I know.
I personally love it when people get drunk a little bit because they be telling you the realest stuff ever.
I like to see people feeling themselves. Really
I do too, but this is something about a drunk speaks a sober mind.
Yes.
Even though they're like, man, I don't want to hear that. That mess my high up. But sometimes we do need to hear that.
So Queen says fear of judgment was the core of family secrets.
Oh, right on. Right on, sis.
Okay.
And then our queen says, at my age, it is important to me and my responsibility to ask my son and grandchildren what questions they have for me on any topic, especially about our family and my experiences. Peace, Queen, for even being that vulnerable. Because I know some elders, they like, I don't want to talk about that.
They certainly know.
They'll just say, I don't want to talk about that.
Down.
And that was in the past, and they keep going. You kind of know not to keep pressing. So, Pete, kudos to you for being open.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Queen says the responsibility was placed unfairly on the black woman and child.
Right on. I understand that.
That's true.
I understand that. I mean, just think how many times I've heard people have shared stories with me that when they brought something like that to somebody's attention, the first thing the person did, like, we don't want to get him in trouble because you know what they'll do to him.
You can't call the police, and you can't. That's gonna be on his record. He won't be able to get a job. He won't be able to, it just all of these things. He'll go to jail, but then how do we handle the person that was violated?
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine the guilt that person carries around.
Right.
Yeah.
That nobody wants to talk about.
Nobody wants to talk or recognize the fact that how her life or his is going to be affected.
Right.
What
How
happens
that
when
person-
she can't get a job? What happens when she begins to drink too much or do drugs because she's trying to hide, because she's actually bought into, based upon behaviors and the way this stuff is being put out, that she's not enough, that she's not important. I'm not even important enough for you to have a damn conversation about what this person did to me.
Right.
And not only we're not having a conversation, we're not even talking about how to help me.
Right. Right.
So let me give y'all some stats.
Okay.
I mean, we could go from there. Let's keep it going. So this is something I pulled up this morning from another source. It says, for every black woman that reports her rape, at least 15 black women do not report it. Approximately 60% of black girls experience sexual abuse by the time they're 18. And this is from 2014, by the way. We're 4 years behind on this study.
Right.
According to a 2014 study, about 22% of black women reported being raped, and 41% experienced some other form of sexual violence. Black women students in various academic settings who reported experiencing rape, 16.5% in high school, a school sample, and 36% in college campuses. College sample, sorry. So that's a lot, y'all. We don't talk about that.
Right.
We don't talk about that. And what we will talk about is somebody showing a booty out of the end of their shorts. What we will talk about is how somebody's skirt is too short, or she fast, or she got 5 baby daddies, or she's too loose, or why does she show her chest, or what. We'll go into all of those things, but we don't want to look at these damn stats.
Right.
I'm sorry, y'all.
No,
especially looking at the fact that all of this happened before 18. So that really, all this stuff happened before she even thought about wearing booty shorts or her boobs hanging out or any of that.
And it's just hard. We don't want to talk about that.
Can I ask a question? I want to go back. So, Ro, when you talk about the young girls that were in your class, I'm just curious, the ones who were abstinent, or abstained or whatever were this is gonna sound crazy. The ones that were sexually active, those were the ones that have been violated.
But no, from both sides. So the girls who were virgins, as opposed to the girls who were not, they were all in that pile.
Oh, really?
That's why I said the room totally shifted. We was like in a little U, like not a virgin, and then like I just kissed somebody and get some feelings, but I ain't did it yet, So we was like in a U shape. And then when the girl asked that question, then everybody, and the one girl, she was so brave. Like, I really love this little sister. I said, well, you come and stand in the middle. And then I said, if that's been anybody else's experience. And then all the girls started moving towards the middle. And so that says something.
Right.
And I know we don't want to have that conversation or that talk, but that says something in our communities, is that our girls are not feeling safe. And then one of the young ladies, God bless her heart, now I sound like a real elder, bless your heart. But she said, well, was this somebody like you didn't know? Like, maybe, like somebody, like in the movies where people snatch you in the alley or whatever.
Right.
And the one girl said, no, that happened with my uncle.
Right.
And then I said, for those of you who've had this experience, was this somebody that you knew or in your family, friend, or whatever? And all except for maybe 3 girls' hands went up.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, so even when we tell that story, it's just kind of hard to keep it real, because we'll start going into other things like police brutality, and that's not what the hell we talking about.
Right.
That's not what we talking about. Like this restorative justice is it's a little off base.
Yeah.
What about restoring the justice to young girls and women who are older women too, who experience this sexual violence, or how we help to support rape culture.
Right.
And I'm talking about women, not just men. I mean, I'm not saying this doesn't happen to boys. Trust me. I know it probably does. Honestly, I know it does. But I only can speak for the female thing. See, I feel like you cannot program a person to care more about the person who's oppressing them than themselves.
Right.
So I'm a preservationist to the core. So I'm a black woman. That's the group I'm concerned with first and foremost.
Right.
It don't mean I don't care about black boys or whatever.
Right.
It doesn't mean that.
Right.
But I just know if it's not okay for the black woman, it ain't okay for nobody.
Right.
That's right.
And I y'all can just call it what you want.
No.
Just because you teach a man to fish don't mean he gonna feed his family.
That's right.
Oh, we got a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Queen
Sorry.
said, no.
It's a hard topic
No,
this
this
week.
is a good topic. Girl, my chest is heavy and everything. No. Queen says, when as a child I was molested, I was told that I needed to confront my abuser at 7 years old. These are the issues that many are still struggling with in their older years.
Right on.
It becomes different forms of depression and anxiety.
Right. Yeah.
Right on.
How do we help our daughters and son finding a safe place to have the conversation? You know, I don't pretend to have that answer, but I really believe that you need to, as a parent, you got to be willing to just stand in it.
Right.
And listen and be open and create a space where you can have honest conversation and honest dialogue. You know, even when it's especially when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't have the answers, but I know that is where it
There
has
are
to
many
start.
answers, so you're just giving us one. So I think there's no magic bullet. There's many answers. So what you saying is what you just said. That's what you would attempt to do.
Right.
You know, with your family, what you do with your family. I'm an auntie and a godmama and whatever. I try to really pay attention to behaviors of people. Because that's really my biggest thing I have. So if I see somebody, they're all carefree or whatever, and then the next time you see them, you see their mood starting to adjust, that's when you need to investigate.
That's right.
Like, you know, you used to love doing so-and-so. What happened? And not be afraid for the answer. Because I hear young people say, if I tell my mama or whoever, they're going to faint to the floor like it's the end of the world.
Or they're going to be mad at me.
Or they're going to be mad at me.
Me,
And it's the
right.
next one. You're
They're going to be
absolutely
mad
correct.
at me. Yeah.
Right.
So that's all. I just feel like that's why I think as a community, we just got to pay attention
Yeah.
when we see them. We got to correct bad behavior.
Yes.
So if you see some grown woman or man checking for a kid, like I'm always like, that's a goddamn kid.
Right.
Like, of course he's handsome, but you saying that shit like he at dinner. Like,
Right.
I don't like that.
You know what? Somebody just, I don't know if it was in the beauty supply or what, but they were talking about how their son, like 16, 17-year-old son, was very handsome, and
Right.
how they noticed that women would be like, oh, you're so handsome, you're so cute, and then they look down at his feet. And just like, kind of like, you know, just fawning over him. I was on
With
a
Vaseline, and we just get it all together.
Girl.
Because I feel like we have to check that behavior. Like, that
Right.
person shouldn't even feel comfortable
doing
referring
that.
to a child like that.
Yeah, I just
Or a
had this-
teenager. I'm sorry.
Y'all, Friday. I just had this conversation Friday. And the mom is just like, you know, that's crazy. You try to raise your son to not be a womanizer, but it's all of these elder women that, you know.
Right.
Now, we promote that too, because in order to be a womanizer, there has to be some woman in there.
Right.
Who knows? And I don't want to hear this like, I didn't know he was married. You know, if this fool can only see you at midnight every Tuesday, what the hell is he doing the rest of the week?
Yeah.
Why you ain't meeting none of his family? Why he
Yeah.
can't take you out in the daylight? I mean,
Right.
come on, y'all.
Don't do that.
Men can't do nothing without women.
Right.
Let's
Right.
just be honest.
Right.
He can't
Right.
do a damn thing unless we condone it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, he can't even run a church without us. Because, you know, we the members. Like, you know, he can't have nobody collect the funds, cook the food, you know, usher people in. How you doing, man? Take to your seat. We're in everything. You can't do nothing, Nathan, without the black woman.
Nothing.
And
So-
why would you want to?
Nada.
I'm just saying.
Nada.
I'm just saying, I think. So this brings me to another thing. There was an article that talked about a mom shares email from teacher who asked her to tone down daughter's black girl magic. Now,
Excuse me? What?
yes, they want the little sister to tone down black girl magic. A young black student was reportedly asked to tone down her self-esteem because she was making her white classmates jealous. Last Wednesday, a woman, Jacqueline, shared a screenshot of an email that she received from her daughter's teacher, Mariah's teacher, begging her to address Mariah about her misbehavior. Now, having self-esteem is a misbehavior. First of all, what the hell is wrong with my child? Writes the question, the caption back in the emoji. This is what she wrote back to the teacher. I am writing you out of the concern for an incident that we had in the class today, in which Mariah, the email address, during our free play time, Mariah was asked to walk around the classroom yelling, I have black girl magic. to her female classmates. While wanting Mariah to feel empowered, this made some other girls cry. Are you fucking kidding me? We get to see y'all in every goddamn thing, on the TV, with black men, with everybody.
Right.
And you want me to what? I hope, I'm sorry, that's my outburst. Whew, that's supposed to be in a bubble inside my head.
No,
I hope that you would be willing to speak with her about this. The email continued. So she posted over 2,000 likes, 7,000 shares. Comments are, of course, split whether or not the teacher had any right to send such a message. Are you kidding me?
Right.
How is this a split message? I like to see her write. I like to send this email about this white boy basically in my class, the slingshots and bringing the bullet to school. It's scared of the people. I mean, come on.
Wow. You know what?
Mariah needs to keep with her black girl magic. Extra tissues.
Yeah.
Extra tissues are needed in order for white tears. One person named Deborah wrote, if white students are flaunted, what's this, flaunting? Flaunting, all right. I have white girl magic. It would have definitely been a different story.
Right.
Our community would have not screamed racism. We have to stop, what's this, stooping, thank you, to their levels. So Curly wrote. These are people's comments, okay, I'm sorry.
Right.
Some of you don't know what racism means.
Right.
Has she called the white children's name and said their race was superior to ours, that would be racist. Black folks feel this is racism, another comment wrote. Now that's a white person.
Right.
They so cowardly, they didn't put their goddamn name.
Right.
So basically, what is y'all thoughts on that?
You know,
Whew,
immediately it made me think about, I had a supervisor one time tell me, I'm going to say maybe it was about, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And he said to me, I'll never forget this. I was in his office and he said, well, Dana, one thing you don't lack is confidence. But he said it in such a condescending tone. It's kind of like, well, what else? How else? I don't know no other way to be. And it made me think about, he was telling me that your black girl magic is too loud.
You need to calm that down.
Yeah, that's a trip how that's offensive to people. But you know what? It is what it
particularly to
is.
white folks. I'm not saying other people don't do it, like Latinos and Asians or whatever. That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But I also think if you understand slavery, you will see why they have a problem with us identifying anything that's not a part of them or that lifts them up.
Right.
Because in slavery, it was all about them.
Yeah.
And us conforming to them and us showing up the way they like us to show up.
Right.
And I think sometimes, which brings me to this other question on top of this one, colonialism, should it be taught, should it be mandatory in schools? Like when we have history and writing, should colonialism be mandatory, particularly in high school?
You mean talking about the history of it?
The history of colonialism, what is it? What does it produce? How is it prevalent in society then and now? What does it mean? How does it shape where we are right now? Because that's what I thought about when I read that article.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought about.
Okay.
Like, this is why we have to teach our kids about colonialism or slavery, whatever, but not just like we were slaves, what was taken from us in slavery. Like your black girl magic.
Right.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we look you in the eyes?
Right.
Why now, even though I wear colorful clothes, white people have to stop and tell me how colorful I am. Like, dude, I know I'm black, but oh my God.
And you can
tell.
my
God.
And they just
Then they
stop
do
and
this,
look and like,
you're so beautiful.
or what about this? You're so strong.
Right. As if it's like, what?
But I think, and the reason why I'm saying that, I think it goes back to us, and that all of this stuff is tying in today, even with the beginning and the generational stuff. At some point, we do have to address the things that has happened to us and how it still permeates in today's culture.
Yeah.
You know, so whether we're talking about slavery or we're talking about rape of black women or sexual violence or whatever we want to call that thing that happens with black girls, where our self-esteem, we're not safe, we're not, you know, as black women, you have to always put your hand on the hip and cuss a motherfucker out, you know, because we've always had to do that, not because we want to do it, but that's because we have to do it. And I'm not talking about not just from the powers that be or white culture or other so-called of-color people cultures, too against us as well. Don't get it twisted.
Right.
And then we have to deal with the inner stuff that go on with black folks and how we have to face colorism and all that other stuff that we do with black. We have to face all of that stuff.
Right.
And so I think colonialism will attempt to help us to understand that.
Right.
That's why I think we can't shy away from those parts of history, because it make you feel some kind of way. I don't give a damn how it make you feel. Get the truth from it and move accordingly.
Yeah.
Because that's what you end up having to explain to young people.
Yeah.
It's like, let me tell you why they're so threatened by black girls. Why we got so much mouth. Let me explain to you why we have to have the mouth.
Yeah.
You know, why do we... No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, because it's like, you know, and I can't count the many a times that you try to have a conversation, you know, this makes me feel this way, this is how I'm perceiving this, and you're trying to have a conversation, and I can't tell you how many times is that when I put my hands on my hip, and my head looked like it's about to spin around, and I'm saying words that, you know, your grandmother would beat the brakes off of you for saying before somebody recognized, oh, I was wrong. Or I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have treated her that way. So that lets us know that's why.
Right.
Because you don't hear me until I have to really cross that line of behaving in what you might say is acceptable. So you don't hear me until then. And so that's why we're loud, just so y'all know.
I don't think it's loud. I was always taught that we are, what's the word the lady said to me? She didn't say we were loud. She was saying that we were very vocal.
Ooh.
See how to play on words?
Yes.
See, white people out there being vocal. She had vocal. We do. It's like, why is she so loud?
Or when we're being assertive. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No,
when we're being assertive, it's called aggressive.
Right.
Yes. Or angry.
Yeah.
Why are you so angry? You're just angry, but
no. I'm passionate.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the crazy
I know
part
what
is
I'm
you have us
talking
saying
about.
it too.
Right.
You got us saying shit like that.
That part right
You know?
there.
Like we supposed to sit like, let us get it. Well, just jump in there. And we waited for you to get your shit together, we'd be dead.
Right.
Some of us had to leave with Harriet. We couldn't wait for you to figure out who you was, and then we could escape together. Shit, I got things I want to do. This lash on my back is real.
Right.
This tree growing on my back is real.
Yeah. I know that's right. Yeah.
Shoot. I don't know.
That part.
Do you think there's ever a time possible that we can have those real conversations like that?
I think so.
We're starting them now.
I think we having them right now. I think that there are circles that are conducive for that. Definitely the evening with the queens. That's a good circle.
Yeah.
That's conducive for that. I know that She Could Be My Daughter is creating spaces for that. Lots of people. I think that I think we just have to really just be honest and open, and we need to have the conversations on a larger scale, because even though the conversations are difficult to have, they are very difficult, especially when you have to think about and reflect on your own childhood or your own accountability or your own responsibility in some trauma. Or you have to reflect back and say, you know what, that was very traumatic. That happened to me, and I didn't need to walk around with that guilt because I didn't do that. It was something that was done to me.
Right on. Yeah.
So we have to be willing to heal, basically. We have to be willing to release, meaning talk about it, and we have to be willing to heal and let go and do the work that it takes. And sometimes that is difficult. Oftentimes it's difficult. Sometimes we feel like, oh, it's easier to just, walk around with it and stuff like that. But then, you end up being 50 pounds heavier or you end up having vodka in the water bottle.
Right.
And putting a little orange juice.
Cancer.
Yeah.
So is it possible to have that conversation with both the victim and the victimizer? Now I'm talking about in the family now. I ain't talking about with other outside people. 'Cause I think it's not black folks. We want to I'm talking about black people. We know this stuff happens in our communities. Mm-hmm. Is it possible to sit down as a family or whatever, as a community, and talk with the victim and the victimizer? Peace, Sister Jacqueline. I
got quiet on me. I got quiet on me. Like
You know what?
I think we would have to have ground rules. Go ahead.
Not
Queen,
only
I'm sorry.
ground rules, but as Tyler Perry said in Why Did I Get Married? We're gonna need some police protection. You know, we're gonna have to have we're gonna need some police protection right here. We're gonna need some.
Yeah, I think one thing.
But it is important though. Well, I mean, seriously.
I mean, but it's impossible because, like you just said, when people may get the, you know, like I'm at the kill this person. But I think at some point, I think that's what restorative justice was attempting to do, except for it came off wrong. It came off wrong. I feel like you can't make the people who are the victimizers the victim at the same time. It's kind of like if somebody did something to me, I shouldn't turn around and do that to somebody else, because then that part about me being the victim goes out the door for me.
Right.
Because you know what that felt like.
Right.
And then you decided to do that to other people.
Yes.
So at some point you have to stand and say, I know what happened to me was wrong, but now I've done this to somebody else, and now I have to stand in that.
Right.
Because otherwise we'll never have accountability.
Right.
We'll just never have it.
Right.
That's like when mothers have sons who's sitting in prison. This is probably going to touch some people. And you know, if you really look back at your life, if you was being honest, you can see where you contributed to some of his behavior.
Absolutely.
Like when he came home smelling like reeking of weed, and you let him sit and play video games, or you didn't want to be hard on him because the white man was going to be hard. So, like we created some of these monsters.
Or when you accepted that money stack.
Oh,
because I think them coming home smelling like weed, that you might experience that if they don't know how to do it. Like if they don't know how to mask that.
No, but some people, kids come home straight. I've had women say, well, didn't I know he was smoking weed, but I figured that was harmless. No, you don't always make, you sit down and you condone some shit when you're high.
Right.
Let's just be honest. I know you feel good, but you see somebody doing some things, you don't be like, man, I ain't participating in that. I mean, you just kind of rolling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's what I'm talking about.
I get what you're saying. But then when they come home with
disrespect to the weed smokers, go ahead. People like, I smoke weed is homeless.
No, yeah, I used to smoke weed too. That's how come I know, but I didn't never come home smelling like it. But because you have to clean it up.
You don't smell that dookie, stanky skunk smell on kids. I can smell that with people. I'll be like, that's different.
That's because they don't know how to
smell
do
like
it.
that. Right on the corner of 24th and floor, I'll be like, I can smell the skunk. I'm not kidding. There ain't no skunk like Pepe Le Pew. That skunk like Ray Ray and Mookie and Shamika rolling up. I ain't mad, y'all.
But that money stack, when your 16-year-old son got 5 racks, now where he get that money
Florida
from?
Evans?
Huh?
I said the mama don't turn into Florida Evans.
Oh, yeah.
I will not take this money. This is horrible.
What would
James.
you do? What would you do if your son
get the
came
hell outta
home
here.
with $5,000? No, let's just say he had $1,000 in his pocket and you don't know where he got it from.
First of all, he just better not tell me.
Yeah, don't tell
That's
me.
number one. But number two is kind of like, no, like you can't bring that up in here.
no.
Because what did you do to get it? I would have asked, well, how did you get this money? And be honest with me. See, it thinks about the relationships.
Yeah.
Like I had 2 brothers and we lived in the crack era. None of them sold crack.
Yeah.
Because my mother worked 3 and 4 jobs, and so her opinion of us meant something.
Yeah.
Right.
She didn't condone bullshit. She wasn't our friend. She was our mom.
Yeah.
Right.
She struggled for us.
Yeah.
So we just didn't want to, we wouldn't want her to come down to juvenile hall or to the jailhouse or up to the school or, like my mother meant something to me. And I know I ain't the only person who had moms that we really cared about. But we said, well, that's your mom. No, there was a lot of moms like that. That's why everybody wasn't on crack.
But here's the thing too.
I would probably burn
and something
that money
that
up.
Yeah. Well,
Go ahead.
you gotta go.
Well, no, I'm finna burn that money up. I'm sorry, go.
No, just don't let it
because I
to
had
the
started
church.
reflecting
Don't
back.
let it to the church.
Oh yeah, get to the church. Just donate.
No, I'm just being sarcastic. Like when James found that money on Good Times. Go ahead.
But no, shit. What was I going to say?
I done made my girl cut. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a bad influence.
But see, here's the thing. Oh, I know. When Rolanda was talking about, the great relationship and the example that her mother set and different things like that. The other part to it too, Rolanda, is for those of us who did not grow up in that type of environment, right? And one recognizing that your parents did the best that they could with what they had.
Right
But
on.
the other part is recognizing that you have choice. You have a decision. You can make a decision.
Right on.
So like, even though I grew up in that, and yes, I have some siblings that made other choices, right? You have a choice. You don't have to do all of that, even if you see it around you. Because you do see the consequences of it. No, really.
Are you sure?
Yes,
We have a
ma'am.
whole community of people who will not let people be responsible.
Mm-mm.
I'm being honest.
Yeah.
We'll be quick to make a way or an out for that person making
Right.
decisions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
no.
kind of deep. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I agree with you
Right.
wholeheartedly, because I do
Right.
think we all, that's why we're not like snakes or like the animal kingdom or the two-legged or the four-legged or the people crawling on the belly. We're not them. We're supposed to have free will.
Yeah.
Oh,
supposedly.
wait, what?
That's
What
what
was
that?
that's
That
what
part.
they said.
What
That
was
free
it?
will.
You're supposed to have free will. That's what I heard. Now,
You
That's
know, free
what I
will
heard.
equals choice.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
can choose to do
but
things.
what if they hungry? What if they gotta pay their rent? This is the bullshit I heard. What if they gotta pay their rent? What if they got
Okay.
What if they got mouths to feed? And I'm being sarcastic, y'all, because everybody got mouths to feed.
Right.
Everybody I know had mouths to feed. Fed other people's mouths too that wasn't their children.
Now that part.
So I'm just being
But
sarcastic.
you
when I
still
talk.
have choice. And you see the consequences of people who made those. And I'm just grateful because I was that type of person. I was that, even as a child, I'd see stuff and people get in trouble for it. I said, okay, don't do that. I know it looked fun and it looked real good, but don't do that because, I don't want to get beat like that. I don't want to have to not be able to, I don't want to be in jail. I don't want to not be able to know what I'm doing. And you show up and it's like, wow, yesterday you look, and now this is what you got. Because you made that choice.
I never wanted to make my mom cry.
I made my mom cry before,
Yeah.
y'all.
I never wanted to make my mother cry. Honestly.
It's a oh my God, it's something that you just
never
I
wanted to make
still
her cry.
relive that, even though y'all that was probably 30 years ago, but it's just that the fact that I made her cry. You do not want to make your mom
It
cry.
just tears at your whole gut. Like you just never.
So
I
what
see
have
my
you
mom
done to
cry at
release
least
that?
one, but I mean, you know.
But if you're the one that made her cry,
No,
that's
I agree.
like,
I agree.
ooh.
I'm gonna tell you what a young man told me once in
Ooh.
school when I asked him what made him turn his life around, and he said because I seen my mother cry and I was the reason, and I just didn't want to see my mama cry because she worked so hard for us.
Right.
This is a young kid, like in today's world, so that like young people are different day, just different day, same shit. So
Right.
when he said, I was like, wow, that said to me that mothers' roles are important.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's hunky dory and everything is good,
Mhm.
but a mother's love is unmeasurable.
No.
Right.
Unmeasurable. And so when
Yeah.
I see mothers, that's why the crack era has to be looked at. Because there
Yeah.
were mothers who totally lost all of that in the crack era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sold their children,
Mhm.
just did all
Oh,
kind of
God.
shit. Like, what would break that bond?
Yeah.
Slavery couldn't do that.
Right.
Slavery couldn't
Did
even
not
do
do
that,
that.
but crack did.
But
So
I did, yeah.
I feel like there's something, like when you're a mom, like there's something special about being a mother, to me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's all hunky-dory again.
No.
There's no struggle in there, but there is something about
Mhm.
carrying life coming through you watching life develop and grow,
Yeah.
you are part of that whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
There's something about that.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like the bond is lost for
Mhm.
some, not
Some.
for all, but for some. That disturbs me a little bit.
Mhm.
I get
It's
really
sad.
disturbed by that
Mhm.
when they feel like the love is just lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get this really. I really struggle with that sometimes.
And being a
Yeah.
mother comes with a
Bring your
great.
mic up.
Being a mother too comes with a great responsibility too.
Right on.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to sacrifice.
Right.
You got to sacrifice your weaknesses and
Um,
your little desires or just whatever. Because when you are a mother, you're responsible for shaping somebody else's life. It's not just about you.
Right.
And
Right on.
so, honor your mother. And those of you who still have your
Right.
mother, honor her. I don't
Right.
care if she
It don't matter what
crippled,
she did.
crazy, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Honor your mom because you came through that person and
we do have a lot of broken mother and daughter
Yeah.
relationships. And sons too. I can't always speak for boys. I'm just being honest. I think we try to, I think
I
that's one of
know.
the things I see black moms do is they attempt to know what it's like to be a black male, which is why we have a lot of black young men and men who don't know how to
Do nothing.
do certain things. No,
Why don't you trust that?
No, I think sometimes it's better because back in the day when you didn't have your father, you had uncles. You had
Right.
other men who would step in and be like,
Yeah.
let me talk to this young man.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was their job. But I feel like sometimes as women, we overstep our bounds with our
Bounds,
sons
yeah.
because we think we know what they need.
Mhm.
And other men can be like, back up off that boy. He all right, you know.
Yeah, right.
Or I've had men tell me like, well, if I'm tripping on
It
something.
depends on the man too, I'm gonna tell you that.
Yeah, they'll be like, well, what did he? Is that all he did? I'm like, oh yeah, but
That's
to me,
standard to men though. That's standard.
Right.
I'm talking about men who you respect, who you see
Yeah.
who they are as men, and you will lie.
Right.
See, I think if women, if you got men talking to your son, will he be the kind of man you would want your son to be? When you think about this man,
Right.
is he a provider? Is he nurturing? You know, is he a
Right.
protector?
That part.
Do he condone bullshit? Do he support rape culture? Is he a protector of women? Is he a protector of his community? I ain't talking about any old Joe Blow Negro. You think he cute, you like his mustache or some shit. I'm not
Right.
talking about that. I'm talking
No,
about
nothing that
when you look
silly.
at who he is as a man, would you want your son to be like that? That's who I want to be
Right.
talking to my nephews and young men in my life. Like
Right.
I try to find men I have a lot of respect for.
Right.
But I don't want no pimp ass nigga talking to my nephews and like, yeah, man, you could kind of, you know, what you got going on. Like, no, he's going to be a man. He is not going to be a sucker of women. He's not going to be a
Right.
parasite to a woman.
Right.
Like, you don't want no parasite Negro giving advice.
Right.
We got to kill them parasites. Shit. We can't even afford that shit. We already blood sucked out dry. Like, shit.
Right.
But do you want men like, hey, like I used to love it. You know, if my dad was on the road, my uncles would step in with my brothers or older cousins who were like closer to my mom's age. They take my brothers and they go do some work together. But while they working, he talking to them about responsibility or whatever the hell, what's going on, what happened, blah blah blah. I loved it. The other day I interviewed Essence and her husband Lamont, and Lamont was saying, because they were talking about their marriage, and he said, my father, I really respect and love my father. He said, I never go to him with problems per se, but what I will do is that I will, ask him for his advice on stuff. Because I value who my dad is as a man.
Right.
And he's still married to my mama, and just they've been through some stuff. But I value him as a man, and that's why I go to him
Right.
and ask what he thinks and stuff like that. So I think that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think this bond between mothers and her children, that's why we cannot not talk about crack and not
Right.
talk about those periods, where that broke us. And so now we're like in the aftermath, if you will, of a lot of this stuff. And so I watch mothers really struggle. That's why it pays to have even women you respect to go talk to about how to handle certain situations with your children. Because it's okay to say, I don't really have an answer for that.
Right.
But let me go talk to so-and-so and maybe she got something she can say.
Right.
Right.
And that goes back to in the beginning when you talked about that wisdom. Right? That
right
wisdom.
Right on.
You pull from those women who have been through it, who are watching what's going on in the community, and you allow yourself to be vulnerable
Right.
and say, I don't know, can I get some help? What do you think? And then of course, like we always say, let it be somebody that that you respect and you trust, that you watch their walk in this life, and then have that conversation.
Right. Is it wrong to say, what is that about saying that you don't know? Does that make you weak?
To some people.
To some people.
They have to know everything. They have to have all the answers.
Yeah, for me, it's just about just telling the truth.
Right.
I think that's the ego stuff. I think sometimes we do that
ego.
in our own culture where we get in front of people. That's why I like watching the Jeffersons, because somebody will say a word in Georgia and answer like he know what the hell it means. It makes me laugh instead of him like, what does that mean? It's like he's a businessman. I've made it now. I'm in the middle class.
and I know
so
everything.
I know, and he don't know. The shit makes me laugh. I
Don't
ain't
know
gonna lie.
that,
Yeah.
right?
But he does because he doesn't know. But I feel like that's a part of us needing to feel like we know something that we don't know. But I think it
Right.
makes a stronger person to say, I don't know that answer. Let me ask a few people because I'm not really. That's not my lane. That's not my experience. And so I don't want to lie to you. Or let's look that up.
Right.
That
Let's
part.
take this walk together.
That part.
Get that Google together.
Yeah, let's
Because I
look it
don't
up.
know.
Yeah.
But I think it takes a lot of strength to say I don't know too.
And to me, that's how you learn. Because
Right.
you walk around acting like you know some stuff and you never learn it.
Right. Now, y'all, we're not talking about saying, I don't know, and then just wait for the answer to drop out the sky.
No, I ain't talking about that.
Okay?
No.
Just put some action to it.
Do you think that's something that we learn from religion?
Yes.
Oh, you mean not questioning and stuff?
Not
Yeah,
questioning
and
it,
not
just-
appearing that you don't know. My God knows.
Right.
My God knows. I mean,
Right.
like, I'm not even talking about Jesus. I ain't trying to question Allah. I'm just saying, like people, I'm just saying, they say you don't know, player. I'm cool.
Yeah,
Right.
just say you don't know, and it's all good because I don't know either. I'm gonna try to find out, but yeah,
Shit, I'm so cool when I say, look, y'all, I don't know.
yeah,
But-
I don't
but
know. I'm not
just-
gonna act like I know.
Right. But just so, we are aware that, God, Jesus, all of that
Lord.
wants you to know. You read these books and a lot of that stuff, faith without action is dead.
Hold on. Do we know that that's God's words, though?
No.
No, I'm saying that the books were all written by men.
Oh,
so do
yeah.
we know that that's God's words, or that words that were inspired
Oh, I like
by
that.
the concept of
Of
God?
God.
Okay,
Hallelujah.
go with me with God.
Hallelujah.
That it
Hallelujah.
inspires
Talk to me,
us to
dear sister.
write
Talk
all of
to
these
me.
stories.
Talk to me.
Y'all, I
Help
have,
me out.
y'all.
That's it.
So for me, I feel like
I love Data.
some stuff just ring true in your spirit.
Right
Like
on.
like
Right.
faith without works is dead. That makes
So
sense
much
to me.
sense.
That
Right.
make that everything about that vibrates with me. So I mean, I think that I get what you saying, bro. But I believe that
Tell us what you believe.
Tell us.
I believe that some. That's
Hallelujah.
Tell us what you're here for. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm
y'all.
silly.
Sometimes things just ring true in your spirit.
I get
Right.
that.
You
I
know,
agree.
just like a lie with something that's not true. Somebody could tell you something. And you could in your spirit that's not true.
Right. You're like, why did you open your mouth? You know that's a lie.
And you just go on and accept it, really.
You say you just go ahead and accept it?
Well, it depends on the content. If it's not going to be anything that's going to, jeopardize you or whatever, you kind of let people sit in what they're. For me,
man.
I don't go around saying you lying unless I really need you to know that I know you lying.
Right.
But I don't necessarily. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
I don't necessarily, say, well, that doesn't ring true in my spirit.
Right now.
But it is something. It's just a mental no. It's just something that you need to, like. Oh, okay.
Right.
I agree. I think the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, any other so-called holy book, because the word holy to me means to be untouched, untampered, untranslated. Means
God.
that
I'm not. I'm not that.
these are I always look at these are maps or
Uh-huh.
to your
Yeah.
liberation or a tool to your enslavement. So I think it
Okay.
depends on everything's up for interpretation.
Mhm.
We all three could witness something and have three different stories about what we just witnessed based upon our
Absolutely.
own view.
Our own perception. That's
Yeah.
right.
So,
That's right.
even though Keon said, but there is the truth. And I'm saying the truth is this is what I thought I seen.
Yeah.
And the
Right.
truth
That's the
is
truth.
you
But
say
I
what you think you
I
see.
feel Brother Keon though too, because your truth would be tainted with your perception. So would his.
No, the truth is what you see, what you believe. I don't think it's tainted.
That's your reality.
That's
But you don't think the truth is colored with what you think?
I think all things are colored with what we think. Like for instance, so for instance, all three of us can look at this and see that this is one round light. But I would say it's round, but it has its imperfections because that's what I see.
Right.
And you say it's round, and it is an imperfection in it. Right there, the thing won't go in.
Mhm.
That don't mean that's my perception. I mean, like what I
Okay,
know.
I get you.
I
I
see
get
that, but
that.
you may not even see that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why we get all of these different translations
Yeah.
and understandings, and I know we struggle with that. That's like even in religion, everybody don't agree on the same thing.
That's right.
In religion,
No.
you know,
Yeah.
we just
Even
don't.
within if you say the same sets, the
Yeah.
same
Uh-huh.
if you're looking at Alice Lamb, there's like 3 or 4 different sets of that.
Right on.
You know,
Right.
and then if you're looking at the Bible, you're looking at Christianity, and it's like a slew.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got
Okay.
different books, different disciples. What
Right.
what they were inspired or their experiences
Mhm.
with, the Messiah. Or because if you Jew, see Jesus to the Jews was just a Messiah. He was not God. But
Right.
that's a whole. We're not talking about the Jewish tradition. So I'm just saying, in terms of they all had stories of their experience with the Messiah. So, it just depends. And it's like a mother. A mother has a different relationship with all her children.
All of them.
Yeah.
None of them are the same with their mom.
Yeah.
None of them. Some say, I thought my mama, and if your mother was old as opposed to her being young, the oldest person always have a total different view of their mom than the youngest kid.
Right.
Who like, oh, she was just loving and we took all the time. The older, she just worked us to death.
Like
Right.
a horse. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the firstborn child trauma coming out right there.
No, I'm serious. And I have to always remember that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I have to always remember that there's different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Based upon even age,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little different for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know if we have any older young folks. I mean, older people in here. If you're the oldest child, do you think you had a different experience than say the youngest? The youngest swear they had a different. I mean, they probably. I'm next to the youngest, but the baby always thinks maybe they had it harder. I don't know because maybe they had more than one mama figure. Because when you're the baby, you got like everybody think they know what's best for you because you're the baby and you don't really know nothing. And, I mean, that's not all the time, but
It does feel like the baby gets better because I think as you get older, as you get older, you get better, and so I believe that probably your youngest child probably gets a better mother or a father than the oldest child.
I don't know if it's better.
I think it's more lenient because I
More
know with
seasoned.
mine.
More seasoned. I'll say that.
More
More
seasoned,
seasoned. Because it's like, you ever see that commercial when they had the first baby, they be extra careful.
Yeah.
And then the second baby, put him in the shower. We're going to just wash him in the shower.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, I ain't got to do all the other little stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a pro at this right now.
Yeah.
I'm a pro. So that's why I like seasoned.
Yeah.
Because you have some people
I like
say,
that.
my mama didn't love me because I was in the middle and I always got overlooked. Because I used to always hear that. You know what? I'm a middle girl when it comes to my sisters, the three of us, the Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of like this
so
sometimes.
your brother the oldest and your other brother the youngest?
No, they're right behind each other. This is my older sister, then there's my two brothers, then Dottie, and then me and Khadijah. So, I'm the middle out of them three. So we the Trinity.
Okay.
But Dottie is always the oldest.
Yeah.
Khadijah's always the baby.
Yeah.
And I'm always in the middle. So I kind of could go either way,
Right.
But them two are closer than I am with the two of them. We're all close.
No, I
But
know.
these two is like, they like thick as, you know what. You know what I'm saying? But I love that though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In terms of our sisterhood. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that.
Yeah.
But it is kind of funny because they'll both check me.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Javon, welcome back to the West Coast.
I know, and congratulations.
Yes. You gotta tell us about. You gotta come and talk to us about that experience. So when we go down there to Lake Charles, we'll know what we're going down to Lake Charles for. I'm saying Lake Charles, and all that good stuff. So I think family dynamics are a little different.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends. Do you think in your family the boys got a different treatment than the girls?
Yes.
My mother was strict on all of us.
Well, I didn't have boys in my immediate family because it was just 3 girls.
Oh.
But what I will say is that I look at my boy cousins as opposed to the girls. Seem like the girls have, and I hate to say this because maybe the boys won't even see it this way, but it just seems like the girls have more responsibility.
Yes.
Like the boys have to do, you have to take out the garbage, you have to do this, you have
And
to
I
do
hate
that.
taking out the garbage. I don't take out the garbage.
I don't take out the garbage either.
Yeah.
I don't take out the garbage
I
either.
don't.
But when my son leave, I guess I'm gonna have to take out the garbage. But
No, you know. If I saw it,
We're going to do the dating game, y'all. So hold on, before you get to that, I just want to announce that we want to have I'm doing all these marriage couples and talks. Javon, I got to get you and Robert on here before. It's just 30 minutes. But anyway, I want to do something where some singles can get together and talk about the singles people who want to be married.
Right.
I don't want no single people like grumpy. I hate marriage. This is not for you.
Right.
But these are single people who would like to be married, so we can hear some of the things that they're looking for, and what are some of the things you think keep you from finding that special someone or whatever, or bumping into. I think maybe you bump into the special somebody. I guess.
Oh, you just bump into them on accident.
No, I mean, like, you could be with them right now and not even know
it.
that this person is the one, but you got all this unexpected expectation, like you want him to look like Denzel Washington or something like that, then that just ain't gonna happen. There's already one Denzel. We don't have 2 Denzel.
That's right.
The other one, here's one, he's mine. No, I was kidding.
I think you go have to share them.
No, girl, I share everything. I don't share money. I don't share men. And I don't share underwear.
Right.
But everything else I can share.
Right.
That's my two
Exactly.
disclaimers. But you think the girls had it a little harder?
Well, it just seemed like there's so much responsibility put on girls.
Right.
You know?
I agree.
And I think that girls, and I know some men are probably going to be upset with me, but I think that girls are very, they're very forward thinking at a very young age. So I think a lot gets put on them because I think that we feel like they can carry it out. They can, you know.
But does that come from women or does that come from men? Because usually men don't be wanting you to do nothing like, oh, you could, you know, men are, this is my experience. Sometimes men with their daughters are a little bit more like mush.
Right.
You know, like, you know, they be like, oh, she could do, they're pretty much, but women, girl, go on and get them dishes done. Go, you know, we treat girls the way we treat ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It probably does.
You know, I think it comes from the mindset that, you know, for us as women,
tell us what y'all think out there, y'all. Go
whatever
ahead.
we do, our mistakes and everything is always with us.
Break that down.
It's always with us. It's just like mama's baby, daddy maybe. So everything that you do as a woman, it is always moving forward with you. The way we've allowed ourselves to set up society, if a man makes a mistake, we're going to call him, we're going to come, we're going to make sure he's okay. Right?
I got you.
Oh, so you don't think that we get enough? You don't.
No,
think
what
that we
she's
give
saying
each other
is
enough grace?
a man could go out in the world and say he could drop 1,000 sperms. He ain't got to be concerned what the hell happened with those sperms.
Right.
But if somebody drop a sperm in us, we going to have to carry it.
Yeah.
Like we going to have to just, that makes a lot of sense. Does
And
that make
so
sense? I got what you just said. It just
and
took
so
me a
we
minute.
carry that with everything else in our lives.
I get that. I get
Everything
that. I
else
never
in
even
our
looked at it
lives.
like that.
So if we're not talking about sperm, you're saying that women, when men do something that's not desirable, they get a certain amount of grace.
Oh, absolutely.
And then when we do something that's undesirable, it's like the end of the world.
Right. It's
And we
our-
carry it with
with
us.
us.
It's
Yeah.
in our wounds.
Yes.
We think about it all the time. I'm not saying men don't think about stuff, but they'll be on to the next one.
I know, it don't seem like they be tripping.
They do. They have it. They show it in a different kind of way. I guess I'm not a man, so I don't know how they show it. But I'm just saying they do show it in a. For them, they can, like, I'm always intrigued when I hear. God, my classes be so good. When I hear girls talk about their dad getting in a new relationship and helping this woman with her children, but he forgot he had children.
Right.
I'm saying he forgot. Maybe he forgot that he fathered 4 of the children and ain't really been talking to none of them.
Right.
I'm not saying, you know, I mean,
What she said?
maybe he forgot that he had these children.
Right.
But that's what I'm trying to say. But with us, we can't do that.
We can't.
Right.
We go into that next relationship with all our kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I feel like if somebody don't like your kids, you shouldn't even be dating them. I don't care how good the good is.
Right.
Like, dude, you better like be like Claudine and keep away from it.
Right.
Well, they just keep on saying I'm lazy and I don't want to do something. I can't remember the rest of the song.
That part.
Yeah, that's all. So I get what you say. I didn't even think about it like that, but we do carry it.
Yeah.
We be in a relationship. We do carry it to the next relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it though? And this is Lord, don't nobody beat me up. But do you think sometimes as women we don't really stand in our power? Because if we don't accept it, the person can't come with the bullshit.
Yeah.
Right.
And we like, I really don't do bullshit. I haven't done bullshit in about 100 years. We don't do bullshit here.
Yeah.
But someone's like, I could do a little bullshit. I mean, I could do the baby mama bullshit and don't have enough money to pay bills bullshit. And
I ain't doing
the
that
dick is
bullshit.
good bullshit. Like,
Buy something.
and someone was like, I'm built for bullshit. I do
All of it. Bring me your bullshit.
I can take
Bring me
it.
your
So
smiles. and
that's
your
all I'm
bullshit.
saying. Like,
You said your smiles and your. Did you say your smiles?
you know how it's like, bring me your hungry and your. We be like, bring me your trifling one. I'm the trifling straightener.
Oh my God, y'all.
You
Oh
know.
my God.
No, I'm
I
serious.
really-
you think we don't be in our
I
rightful
really
place,
do,
on
for
social
sure. For sure.
Right.
I can say that there are times when some of us don't stand in our power.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you think we stand in our power though?
'Cause we
Is it
bought
too
into the
hard
bullshit.
sometimes?
I don't know
That
if
shit's
it's
hard sometimes.
You know what? It may have something to do with trying to be a pleaser.
Oh, that's a big word.
Right.
The pleaser of what though?
What you pleasing?
No, I'm just curious.
I think it's a misconception or a warped view of what a nurturer is.
Oh, you got to break that down.
It's a warped view. You know, I'm a nurturer to my children. I'm not necessarily having to be a nurturer to, you know, a grown man who you know has, as one meme that I saw, a bedtime, right? A bedtime. You know, we gotta go to bed a certain time. And that are those who have made decisions that are not conducive to living in a space to where they can move freely. Right? It's not, I'm you know, going to some of the points that Rolanda made, it's not my responsibility to make sure you're okay in your own mess. You got to do that. Somehow we bought into this whole thing that it is my responsibility to save, you know.
Could I, should I, would I save him?
Right.
I get that for some women. I can see that. I think it has something to do with indoctrination.
Yes. We bought into
Because,
it.
you know, we always say a woman's job is to soothe a man's head. And I'm like, why is that my goddamn? Who gonna soothe my head? Because children don't do. They put grease and peanut butter and shit in your head. Like, you know.
Yeah, for real. Take a nap if you want to.
My niece playing in my head, I'm gonna have grease for real. But y'all don't be supporting my madness. But I agree. I'm only saying indoctrination because we do have this thing about women having to support men. So I think it's to support them, but we don't really talk a lot about men being the maintainers.
Right. Right.
Because to me, they really are. The supporting and maintaining it to me is the same thing.
Yeah.
Because support never stops and maintaining never stops.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
You know, but it's-
And maintaining is more than financial too.
Right.
Oh, definitely.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
financial helps.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course.
But might beat me up.
Yeah. That
I'm
part.
just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying too.
So, but
Makes-
yeah, but like you said, it is an indoctrination. We bought, somehow we figured out, or somebody figured
Okay.
out a long time ago how to get us to buy into this whole thing, and then us always being the floor.
Yeah. Black women, we have definitely been the floor. We continue to be the floor.
Yeah.
I always say if you're an immigrant and you're in the U.S., you have to thank black women because we
Right.
have been the floor.
Right.
You move into a black community, we are going to take care of you probably before we take care of our own.
Right.
Let's be honest, but we want you to think that we're accepting of everyone except
Right.
for ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
that, I'm just going to be honest. If you're here and you're able to fly your flag of your country proud and you can be legal and feel like you have a right to be here, you can thank black people for that.
Right.
I mean, because we've never been immigrants. If you came here through the slave trade, you have never been an immigrant. If
Right.
you came over here on a luxury liner or flew in and you're from Africa, that's different. You know,
Okay.
that's just very different, honestly, because you still have your language, your culture, your foreign. You still have all of that. But if you came here through enslavement, you did not get any of that.
Idiot.
So we couldn't even speak our own tongue. We couldn't even be no form of African in slavery.
Right.
Okay.
No form. And I think that's the
Right.
difference. And as much as we want to act like we're all in the same boat, we know that that's not true. We didn't
Right.
come over here for education. That's not, they put us over here to build something
Something. Right.
in oppressive circumstances. We did not come over here to go to Yale or, you know, to get a job and send money back home. That's not, that's not a fucking
Not our story.
I think we got to
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We didn't come here directly from Egypt and shit like that. We know we
Yeah.
came here directly through a belly of a ship where people died and we survived.
Right.
Right.
And then all kind of traumatic shit happened to us, and the terrorism and all of that was here. I would say this though, talking about stuff like sexual assaults or whatever, it makes people feel some kind of ways.
Yeah.
I think we learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because there's something about that reflection.
We don't even have a lot
Right.
of comments like how we usually
Folks just
have.
quiet.
We usually be
if
lit
that's
up.
a topic though, that means I'm gonna look at that a little bit more. Because I'm gonna tell you
Right.
what prompted. It was my kids in school, and it was also listening to 3 documentaries. One that was by the BBC about Bill Cosby. I felt so conflicted after watching that. I'm not saying that he didn't do it, but there was just some things in there. I just see when you plug in race
Yeah.
into it with Bill Cosby,
it changes. And when you plug in self-hatred into Bill Cosby, it makes you feel conflicted.
Right.
Because he was pretty color struck, y'all. That's just not bullshit with it. That is real. That's a real thing that's happened to black folks.
Right.
And as much as we want to act like, oh no, it's the white man. Well, damn it, you picked up the tool and you used it. So you don't get to, you have to apply what he leaves. And so I felt really conflicted. And do I think Bill Cosby drugged some people? He like having, people when they knocked out so they can't fight him back because maybe his dick ain't that big or maybe this. I'm just kidding. But I just feel like, because I was like, why would you gotta knock a woman out? Right. I'm not saying he didn't do that. I think he did. But I also think some of the women I just could not believe.
Right.
I could not believe. And we cannot leave out white women's perception of rape as opposed to how many black men were lynched due to white women lying about their assault at the hands of black men.
Right.
So I don't know. One woman said she didn't want to come forward because she had been married to a black man. What the fuck does that mean? As a black man, I was like, well, what the hell does that mean? Like, why could you not come forward? Y'all just left the Playboy Bunny Mansion, and that's what y'all sell there is sex and titties and ass and pussy and But then I'm a little concerned about that. I'm not saying that it could not have happened. But I feel like, I don't know, when white women talk about rape at the hands of black men, I feel kind of conflicted.
Yeah.
I feel kind of, it's not as simple as, a white man raping a white woman. It's not that simple.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's
another whole history to black men and white women and sex.
Yes.
And nobody wants to talk about that.
Right.
So I felt conflicted about Bill Cosby. But when I looked at R. Kelly's shit,
Why did that feel different? Yeah, girl.
Why does that feel different?
It's
R. Kelly is just different. I think we have some sexuality issues in there with R. Kelly that we don't want to talk about.
What is this that you watch?
I watched the documentary, R. Kelly or Bill Cosby.
Oh, so they're two different.
Yeah, so one was like, I typed in YouTube, Bill Cosby and documentaries, and BBC's came up first.
Okay.
And then some other ones came up as well on him. Some was before the trial, some was after the trial. I think Bill Cosby also, too, was a part of being an elitist. I think he liked black people, but I think he hated our guts at the same time, especially if you were lower class black folks without education. I think he did not have a lot of respect for black women who were physically black, not mixed black women.
Right.
I'm talking about pure blood black women. He did not like pure blood black women, especially if you were poor and you didn't go to one historically black college, because he raised a lot of money for black folks.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I heard Eddie Griffin make a comment. Sometimes I just listen to people because I never even I seen him stand up maybe once or twice when he first started out. I just didn't think he was that funny.
Bill Cosby?
No,
Eddie
Griffin.
Oh yeah.
And some people, my brother loves him. Oh my God, he just thinks he's hilarious. But I just this ain't my shit. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. Don't be a bad
Richard
person.
Pryor type of
Yeah,
girl.
me too. But he also said, they're gonna tear Bill Cosby down over some pussy. And I thought to myself, that's a typical nigga who don't respect black women to act like it's just some pussy.
Right.
So I just was like, I felt so conflicted with Bill Cosby. And I think sometimes it's okay to have the conversation about the conflictedness of Bill Cosby, because Bill Cosby is represented by a lot of black men in our community, not just a few, but a lot.
Yeah.
If we're looking at television and you don't see certain types of black, like Bill Cosby, all that talking about, representing mixed people and why he had the kids, he didn't have one physically dark child on the Bill Cosby show. Not one. But he did have two mixed race people. He did have the two brown skinned people.
Right.
But he did not have a chocolate dark black person.
Right.
So, y'all, like, we got to talk about that, because I think he's a human being and he's complex, but he's also a black man.
Right.
And so he picked Camille, but then he wanted to sleep with all of these white women and mixed women. One of the girls talked about him wanting her to straighten her hair. She's the one you see with the big afro. And, I just felt really conflicted watching that. I felt very conflicted watching that. And then R. Kelly's was just
What was Rob talking about?
Not Rob Bass or Easy Rock, but I'm talking about R. Kelly Rob.
You talking about Robert?
They call him Rob. See, I've been watching the interviews, so some call him Rob.
Robert.
But Robert. Because some of this shit was like, when you have a sex cult, so I don't know if it really was a sex cult. I was trying to figure that out.
Right.
Because, in the sex cult, people, oh God, some people think the Nation of Islam is a cult. Some people think churches are cultish.
Right.
Some people think the police department is a cult. Some people think that having a Jack and Jill is a cult. I mean, some of us think a lot of things are cult. You know what I mean? There's the weed cult. There's a lot cult. There's a Coke cult. There's a Coca-Cola cult. I don't know.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I felt really conflicted. Because I listened to a lot of interviews from women. Some saying that, he was looking for certain types of women. Some saying that there was a buy-in, that he bought them nice clothes. And I don't know. R. Kelly. And then at some point, I guess he didn't want them to have phones. Then they were saying he was having sex with men and that he really was gay. Some say he was bisexual. Some say he was trisexual. Some say he didn't. I don't know. He tried anything.
Okay.
I was
gonna say you can't say trisexual.
Bisexual.
Just say that and go on past it like you did say.
But I feel like, and so that the sexuality piece with him was, Bill Cosby was Quaaludes. With him, it was just like, I'm a big fan, and I'm just going, I don't know. He's other part. Girl. Then he said he was a victim of sexual assault. So then I got very confused. If you were a victim, why were you victimizing other people? And I don't want to hear that bullshit that hurt people. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Right.
Shit, we were slaves. We didn't go make other slaves. I mean, y'all come on with this bullshit.
Yeah.
So
did they talk to his wife?
I didn't see none of her interviews yet. I was just strictly looking at that part. Because they were married, there's a whole other element there. I talked to a girl who thought she was his girlfriend, and she was a radio host, and then she left for a good job, but then she met back out with him to get her red bottoms and shit. So I just didn't know.
Why did we even have to know that she had got?
I don't know. But I felt so conflicted. Right. And I don't know if anybody out there felt conflicted, but I did watching these two particular black men, because it made me think about what is the lack of self-worth when it comes to black girls and women. That's what made me look at their case. I'm not saying there's not other cases, but with those two particular, here was one man who had a sex cult, and I didn't really quite understand that, like why he needed to have a sex cult. But then this is where it's going to get controversial for some people. Then I listened to.
I'm about to ask y'all a question.
Yeah, and then I listened to Minister Farrakhan basically give his 2 cents, and I'm saying 2 cents because he's a man to me, around. Almost like defending R. Kelly a little bit. And I think there's something in the behavior when it comes to black men that we will defend them as if he can't be held responsible.
Right.
And do men do that because maybe they've done the shit? I don't know. I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying sometimes we protect black men at all costs.
Right.
And that's why it's hard for us to be together as a nation, because I can't be with nobody who don't make men be accountable or share their, like for instance, the same way that white people demand that we denounce him, you know what I mean, if people who are big, well shit, we gonna need him to denounce R. Kelly shit. And not trying to get us to understand the mind of what the fuck he did. I don't give a fuck about the mind of what you've done.
Right.
There needs to be a straight up like that shit was wrong and that's behavior we should not condone, and I don't want to hear come see me and I can reform you. I don't want to fucking hear that. That's just wrong.
Right.
And I know we don't want to hear that.
Right.
When sometimes when your teacher says some shit, you be like, what the fuck, what? And half your audience probably been victims of some shit like that.
Right.
Because if you got black women, 75% of us damn near has had some kind of sexual assault against us.
Right.
And then we have to listen to people who don't even fucking value your ass like that. You just good for making sandwiches and having babies for us, I guess. Shit, I don't know. But what's your question, Dana? I just threw that out there.
No, that was a lot, what you just said. And that was a lot, okay? But let me try to remember what my question was. Because I started, no, because you needed to get that out, because that is something.
It is.
That is something. That's a cold cup of coffee. But, I got that from Jermaine Morris. But, girl, I done forgot my question. Okay, the question I was going to ask y'all, and first let me premise it.
All right.
I am
disclaimer.
Yes, I am in no way, condoning abuse of any kind. In this part, we're talking about sexual abuse to women, but I'm not condoning any kind of abuse.
Right on.
Okay.
But do you think that some of those women wanted to be with R. Kelly?
Yes.
And Bill Cosby?
Yes. Okay. That's what I'm saying. That's where the conflict comes in.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's where the conflict comes. One one girl told the story, y'all. Look, it's all on YouTube. She said how she met him like 8 years ago, and then he went to a concert, nothing happened, whatever. Then he called her out the blue one day 5 years later, and she had just had her son and wanted the flowers. So she said, no, I just had my son, whatever. Then he waited 2 more years later, then he called her again and texted her, and she said, yeah, I'm going to go see him, whatever. So he arranged, maybe it was 5 years later, he arranged for her to come to Chicago or Atlanta, one of the two. And then, like, she got picked up, blah, blah. No, long story short, she ended up going to his house in the basement, whatever, and basically having sex with the dude. She was laying it all out and all kind of shit she did. Then he was asking her questions like, about her family, said she had a son, blah, blah, blah. And then they did their shit or whatever. She met another young lady, whatever. And then, he sent her back to the hotel and she went home. She said, I think he did, because I was like 25 at the time, that's what the woman was saying. And so he ended up sending her home. And what she said was very telling. This is what I mean about own your own shit, or be very honest. Don't always jump to but he was a celebrity. She said, I probably I did whatever the hell he told me, because this is R. Kelly, and I wanted to be with R. Kelly. She said, saving grace was my son. Because I had already had a child, and I was 25 years old, he didn't get to, do whatever the hell he does, the magic spell or the poof or whatever for her to stay. So I thought it was very honest of her to say, I did that because this is R. Kelly. That's the buy-in. And then she did all kind of shit with him in that evening or whatever. And I'm saying, and I'm not condoning bad behavior.
No, I know
at least that woman was honest about, this is what I contribute. This is what I got out of this.
Right.
So let me ask you guys another question.
Okay.
Well, get the questions in.
Get
them in.
So I get what she's saying. She's saying that she would do that because it was R. Kelly.
Right. And she was honest about it. She didn't try to act
I get it. But are there some women that do things, even if it ain't R. Kelly, they just do things because that's what they're trying to do. They haven't been made to do whatever they want to do it. Do y'all believe that or no?
Say it again, Dana.
Wait a minute.
I think I just said, but say it again so I can just hear it. Just one more time, please.
The same thing that I asked about with the lady in R. Kelly and Bill Cosby.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think that there are women that will be with men who have sexual fetishes, even if they're not, entertainers or popular?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not denying that at all. What I am saying though, I think people gotta be truthful about their motives and not when they get busted, be like, yeah, me too. And me too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, me too.
That's why I be thinking,
that's what I can't. That's what I'll be like, nigga, what?
That's why sometimes I'll be like, I don't want to not be sensitive to people that have been abused. I don't want to be that woman to be like, did that really happen to you? And it really happened.
Right.
And this person was really in a situation against their will. Only thing I'm just saying is, I just feel like there are some women who are in that situation because they want to be in that situation. It wasn't against their will.
I don't think they think it's a situation because they're used to it.
Right.
Let me just say that. No. Then there are some people who, that's not their choice. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. That's what I said. I felt conflicted. Conflicted means that I felt like this.
Right.
Like there was one white woman on Bill Cosby's thing, and she basically talked about it, asked him, what do you want his legacy to be? And she said, the man is brilliant. She said, this is a man, and she's talking about all the brilliant shit about Bill Cosby. This is a white woman. All the brilliant things. She said, I just think he's sick that he would drug people.
Right.
And I asked myself, that was very honest of her.
Yeah.
That was
I wonder
very
why
honest.
didn't you want them to be sleeped up?
I don't. That's like why people smoke weed that's laced with all kind of bullshit. Why can't you just smoke the weed? Why you gotta lace it with?
Well, does the Quaalude make you go to sleep?
I think it paralyzes you. It sounds like it paralyzes. The Quaaludes kind of. He had stuff that his deposition was like very telling. I was like, shit, Bill. Like he.
I'm sorry.
He did his no, for real. The deposition was like, wow. So I'm just saying, it's something where you can't. It's like you're awake, but you're not awake. Like you're. Before you completely, you're paralyzed. You can't fucking move.
You can't move.
Wow. So that's all I'm saying. I'm saying
that's like giving him the ability to bend and twist you.
So here's a white woman who basically gave Bill his props, but at the same time, and I believed her. At the same time, she was saying he was brilliant. He was brilliant and intelligent, whatever. But he just is a little sick in terms of his fetishes, like that's over the edge.
Right.
The drug a motherfucker, like that's too much.
Yeah.
But I also feel like the Bill Cosby thing is so not as like, it's not as cut and dry. Like all this shit really came up because of the brother who did that stand up. Now listen to this, because that's why you can't leave race out of Bill Cosby's in particular. R. Kelly's a little different. But it was a comedian, I cannot remember this brother's name. I did see a stand-up, and he talked about Bill. He said, Bill Cosby gonna tell us to pull our pants up. Because he was basically talking about how Bill Cosby basically talks shit about black people,
Right.
black women in particular, how they raise their kids and all this. He was so fucking upset and
Oh, he
outdone.
was
And
brutal.
you know, and then the dude said, well, he said, I can say that, talking about Bill Cosby, because I'm a comedian, I'm a popular dad, I'm a motherfucker who drugged, I'm a rapist. You know, he said, you know, basically, he said he don't tell you that part. That's what started the investigation so big like that. It was another black man checking Bill Cosby, like, how dare you tell black people to pull their pants up and think you disciplining us? And then here you are fucking drugging people and raping people.
Right.
So that in itself was very telling. But even with that, one of the so-called victims of Bill Cosby, a white woman, gonna say, I just felt some way because they listened to this black man, but not us. I'm like, this white woman is really... There was a time when if you just said he looked at you wrong, they lynched the black man.
Right.
And you got the audacity to be upset. First of all, this ain't got shit to do with you, white lady. We're
Right.
talking about Bill Cosby, the moral compass of black people, the self-appointed.
Yes.
You know, compass of black people morally. That's who the hell we talk. We ain't talking about him and white women. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You getting the benefit of this brother, but we were really doing housekeeping with us as black people.
Right.
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 Yeah.
Everything isn't about you.
When this shit happened to you in 1962, when you know a black man would have got fucking lynched, even if he was Bill Cosby. Ask Sammy Davis Jr. If the head of the studio didn't tell him if he didn't stop fucking with Kim Novak and marry a black woman, they was gonna kill his ass. Did y'all know that? So miss me, white woman. And then he ended up stop fucking with Kim Novak and married a black woman within days because they had kidnapped his ass. It was a whole thing. See, people don't tell you that part of the story.
Right.
See, white women in Hollywood, they don't tell you that part. So anyway, I'm sorry, I just wanted to. I just think it's so not cutting. I think it's so not cut and dry.
Yeah.
It's not like
No.
these white women were attacked and get the hell out of here. And Bill Cosby had a type. He had a type. Let's be honest. He had a type.
Right.
He had a type. Quincy Jones has a type.
Right.
They have types, and we don't want to make excuses for their types. But then you're gonna come back at me and tell me what ain't right with me.
Right. That part.
And then want me to protect you when the shit go down.
Ooh.
When you said I was ignorant and I didn't name my kids the right name, you know, you know,
You know what I thought was weird too?
What?
This is totally off
Nah, girl, we
the
just talking
subject,
about
but
ahead.
this is Sunday sitting with sisters. All of his children were murdered.
he had 5 children. I learned from Camille. I think that's the only kids he got. I'm not sure, but one of his daughters was a drug addict for years, and she finally died. And then his son was murdered. That was it.
Oh,
What
I
after
don't.
three?
I don't know after the 3. I never heard about them.
I know.
I didn't know he had
I
5
didn't
kids.
know
I didn't know
that
how many
either.
kids had together. Like he had the family man. See, this is also something that we've set up as women. I'm not blaming us for Bill Cosby. I'm just saying in terms of men and their dualities.
Right.
He had the picture perfect. I'm a dad and I have Camille and we have our children.
Right.
You have this picture, and then over here, this full drugging people. And he was known for like cheating on his wife. Like that was public knowledge to some people.
Right.
I don't know because I don't live in the Cosby world, but I'm just saying. But then when he wrote the Cosby Show, it was just like his real life.
Right.
That's why when he got in trouble as the American Dad, I was like, well, he was kind of setting himself up for that. And this is not about him buying NBC. Please stop lying, black folks. Get out that goddamn conspiracy and deal with facts.
Right.
It had nothing to do with him buying NBC.
Right.
He did some stuff, y'all, that wasn't cool. But again, we starting off talking about the sexual assault of black girls and women, and motherfuckers get quiet.
Yep.
Because some of us, your silence is complicit.
Yes.
Your silence means that you agree with the shit. And you don't
That's
value
right.
black girls and women.
That's right.
So don't be talking that stuff about, well, you have the black women have to do this. No, you have to set the precedent. You can't be protecting your sons and your husband, your baby daddy, and your boyfriends when you know his ass is wrong.
Wrong. That's right.
and then want us to have empathy when something happened between y'all. I'll be like, no, because you probably didn't do something he wanted you to do. Like, what if we all felt like that? Police show up at your house. I don't know. It's a woman. Oh, man, no. He good. Because you should have did X, Y, and Z. Like, we complicit in a lot of this stuff.
Right.
We are really, we don't want to, we just don't want to admit it because some of us think that victimhood means that you don't have free will.
Right.
But you do on some parts.
Yeah.
On some parts. I get survival. But on some parts, we do condone that. When we see men acting a certain way, they learned that shit from somewhere.
Yeah.
And somebody had to condone the behavior for them to think it was okay to do it.
Right.
That's right.
And that's not popular.
Well, we got
15 more minutes and we out of here.
do we have any announcements that we want to?
I don't know. So y'all got the African market coming up again, right?
So we have the African market coming up this Saturday from 12 to 6. From 12 to 6 at 2251 Florin Road, Sacramento, California. Please come out. We also have Zumba offered at the African Marketplace. So come out and get your Zumba on Miss Marlena.
Right on.
Yes.
Okay.
And then also, I hear that Mr. Axius is going to be teaching people how to make plantains at the African market. I think that starts at 12 o'clock in the Obama room.
Right on.
Also, there's a Kwanzaa celebration at Unity Church on Folsom Boulevard. In case you missed Black Friday, there is another opportunity. Matter of fact, I think there are lots of opportunities.
Right.
Lots of Black-owned businesses are getting together around the town, and they're gathering together so that you can have an opportunity to patronize them. But this particular one is on December 16th at Unity Church on Folsom Boulevard from 9 to 3 p.m. next Sunday. So that's on the 16th. Also today, Bina's Cafe has chicken and waffles.
And cauliflower.
And cauliflower and waffle in case you don't eat meat. And then also Nubian Family Beauty Supply is going to be graced with the presence of Wanda Abney. From Full Circle on 97.5. She's going to be discussing her part of the book about overcoming obstacles and embracing grace. That's going to be at 2 p.m. today. Nice. Okay. You guys want to stop in and check that out because it's a beautiful thing. I've talked with her about it. It's really good. Also, this week we have the Boys in the Hood this Friday from 6:30 to 8:30, December 14th. You guys bring your young kings out. The boys are having a great time. Let me just say this. I want to say thank you to the Black Social Worker Association of Sacramento, and also Rose Family Creative Empowerment Center.
Right on.
They had a pre-Kwanzaa celebration yesterday that was off the hook. They have vendors there. The children were able to make gifts right there on the spot. It was really nice. They provided food for the whole community. But do you know that they collected books for these boys in the hood? And they were some good books. There's some nice books. So I'm so grateful for them, not just because of that, but just being pillars in the community because we need that. We need that blueprint.
I know we do.
And I want you guys to know I follow the blueprint. So thank you so much. Also, one more thing. On December 13th, also in this building, 2251 Florin Road, the Boys in the Hood and other people from the community are starting a program called Tala. It'll be more information about that. I'll put that in the links. It's a really good program because this tying in literacy and art, but also to learning how to use music equipment. They're going to learn how to play the guitar. They're going to learn how to use, how to engineer music, and they're going to learn how to write songs and use video equipment. So they're actually going to write a couple of songs. And so we're really excited about that. So December 13th from 6:30 to 8:30. That's at 2251 Florin Road. That's Thursday, and then we'll be right back at it again on Friday. We're going to be finishing up Tupac. The Boys in the Hood are studying Tupac, how about his childhood, about his upbringing, and some of the boys can identify with some of the things that Mr. Shakur went through. So we're really excited about that.
What you got going on, Dr. Strong?
Okay, so to start out, I want to invite everyone to we're having the Meet Your Entrepreneur Mixers that are happening December the 14th and 21st at 6 p.m. And those are going to happen at JB's Lounge here in Sacramento. So if you are an entrepreneur who wants to be able to meet your community, be sure to connect with Black Sac Econ, and that's Angie Wiggins, to get on the list. And during that time, we do door prizes, the raffles that are free. You don't have to purchase anything to be able to win a prize, right? And so Rising Star, Dr. Camelia Strong, our annual signature event, which is Create Your Life Vision Board Workshop, that's going to be happening January the 26th at 10 a.m. It's really going to be a all-day workshop. And so what we'll be doing is helping you set your goals, helping you understand and look at finding your why, and creating measurable and doable action items for it. We're going to do guided meditation, what that looks like, why we prescribe to it, and also you'll be creating that vision board that is a representative of all the things that you work through during the day. And then finally, one of the other things is I would like and invite everyone to join me on Tea Time with Dr. Camelia Strong. That happens Monday through Fridays at 10 a.m. and then again at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on ETA Radio. And that's ETTA Radio. And you can actually download the Live 365 app, right? So you can download that app and be able to find it, or you can go to the website, which is www.etta.life, and to be able to listen in as we talk about, encouragement. We talk about the different things that can affect our lives and how we can self-sabotage, how to really create that life of bliss, right? And we're not talking about bliss in the, fancy, euphoric type thing, but really being responsible, accountable for creating and manifesting the life that you want to live. And so for those of you who don't know and do know, go to my Facebook page, and you can also see the books that I have available there, and purchase them, right? Because baby need new shoes.
Right on. I'm going to tell y'all that. Y'all so funny.
I like what she said.
Not an interview this week with couples in the marriage series. I have the Great Continuum Black Marriage. So I have a bunch of interviews this week with more married Black couples. Also, Traditional Tuesday, have a guest for Traditional Tuesday, more talking about, I think this is going to talk about spirituality and dance. Last week we talked about spirituality and food, which was so awesome.
Yes.
This one is spirituality and dance on Tuesdays. And then also on Tuesday evening, I'm going to be talking with a brother professor from Ghana, who's going to be talking to us about Ghanaian culture and, basically get the chance to ask us some things about African culture, particularly Ghanaian culture. And then also we have our 7th annual Men of Honor Community Tribute Award. Every year we honor Black men in our community who are about their life. And so this year we have Dr. Cecil Canton. He's a professor of criminal justice at Sac State University. Brother Aaron, Brother Melvin Brooklands, Brother Ron Green, Corey Jones, Darius Henson, Tariq McFalls, Jamil Pugh. Aaron's last name is Cordoza. Sorry, y'all, that's his name. Asante Shakur, Malik, Kareem Malik Moore, Richard Nelson, who's an elder, and then Marcus Struther. And the beautiful thing about this year's nominees is that we have 4 men who are principals of schools. Nice. That's being honest. These are Black men who are principals. One of, I think, of a high school, and then the other 3 is middle school and elementary or something like that. And then we also have a brother who works inside the school. So a lot of stuff on education. You should bring your sons out. It's going to be held at John Steele School at 11 a.m. We're going to have great food being served. But if you want to show your young men what grown men look like, who work every day, who contribute to their community, because that's why this program was designed, was so that we can honor the men in our community, not talk about what they ain't doing,
but honor the ones who are doing, and then connect your son and daughter to their programs and what they're doing. Some of these brothers is from Brother to Brother in Del Paso Heights, who work with brothers who are a part of that community. But some of these brothers was in the streets, and now they back in the street, you know, basically helping our people. We're honoring them, which is, I think, is a really big thing, to honor folks who are out there doing the work. We also have some brothers from our conscious community, some brothers who do a lot of video production and basically do media and showing our young people how to do media. I mean, we have black men in our community that's about that life.
Yes.
And varied forms of life, because black folks, we're not monolithic. There's no one way of being a black man. Don't let nobody bully you into thinking that you have to show up like this or show up like that. And so at the Men of Honor, we read their bios, they get proclamations, we do all kind of stuff. But this is our 7th annual one. And I think today we honored like 65 black men that's in our community that's doing things. So when I hear people talk about what they think about black men, I must be like, I don't know what black men y'all be hanging around.
Right.
But I know black men who are great fathers, who are great lovers, who are great family men, who are always contributed to their family and their community, you know, and on many different levels. And then the biggest question is, how do we support these people? Right. So we're honoring the brother who's over like the youth, youth activity, youth engagement at Sac City. He's very obtainable. You can see him everywhere. You know what I mean? There's always activities they're coming up to basically showcase to our children. They're always there. Talk about business. There's some brothers here are business owners, you know. And there's many different ways of being a business owner as well. So you have the nonprofit side, you have regular profit side, you have LLCs and all that. We are doing so much as a people. We're just a little fragmented, but we are there doing stuff. And I think it's important for us to come out to stuff like Men of Honor and basically, you know, show them that we support them, and then call on them. Call on them for stuff. And I think that's important. Like, you know, we need to talk to them and say, hey, this is what we need help with, or this, how can we assist you? You know, the last thing I want to talk about is the Black FUBU Parent Support Group. And FUBU means for us, by us. So it's called Black FUBU. And so we're going to kick off the first meeting of that in January. But I have teams of people making calls to parents all over Sacramento to make them aware of it, and then, you know, building support. We have 4 areas that we're looking to help black parents in, and not just when there's something traumatic happening to your child. We got to get out of this defense of always waiting for people to do something to us, and then we out in the street protesting and shit. Let's do some proactive stuff. Let's not, we know my homegirl Javon likes to say, we are always on the defense when we know offensive win games. So we have to do some things that set our children up to be successful in these schools, to help them get what they need as young people. And so that Black FUBU group is basically what we are setting up. And so, yeah, that's about it. You know, of course, we'll be back on Sunday Sitting with Sisters. And what I'm going to attempt to do is to, I have a couple of new shows coming. I'm going to be producing some people, so I'm very excited about that. But also, the other part is, let's see, one more thing that was so crucial. Oh, I'm also looking to produce a young man whose job is going to be to honor every Men of Honor we've ever had. So his job is to interview the past ones and the ones who we are honoring this weekend, but throughout the year. Actually, they should be honored. So I think we need to showcase, and it'd be like these, like the Warrior Wednesdays, you know, Honorable Men Thursdays. I don't know when they want to do it, but what day it'll be. But it's more like, let's talk about black men who are in our community making it happen. And we have teachers here, people who are community activists, you know, ministers, the professor from we're everywhere.
Right.
We're everywhere.
Is Warriors Wednesday going to be this week? Or?
It's up to you. So we'll talk about that off there. So anyway, y'all, that's what I got going on.
You got
Earth
Mama
Healing
Network.
Yeah. And also that everything I do is in collaboration. So this is a collaboration with Brother to Brother Support Systems with Brother Keon and Rose Family Creative Empowerment Center / Black Child Legacy Meadowview. Is collaborating with Earth Mama Healing on that. And I love collaborating with Miss Jackie Rose.
Yes.
For me, I'm the type of person, young people are important, I get it. But elders to me are very important because they give you the knowledge to know how to move, how to operate, and everybody can't mesh with the same energy. Because I'm the type of person, if I'm a go-getter, then I gotta be people to go nonsense. But if I'm like a fooey and I'm a Philly, you know, sometimes people need that kind of person. I can use it all. But with Miss Jackie, I just like the way she say we do something, she show up and she supports you.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to give a big shout out to her because we have a lot of unsung heroes. And so she just does the work, but she is like the voice for the voiceless. So I love that about her. So I want to give her a shout out. And Sister Yo.
Yes.
Sister Yo,
the whole clique.
The whole clique, yeah.
The whole clique.
All of them be about that business.
Yes.
And they really work a lot with our families. And you go in their space and you know it's us. It ain't like you got to go looking for us.
Right.
It's us. I just love their space. It just feels so warm. So anyway, wanted to say that I think I'm here in Oregon.
Hallelujah.
Ooh. So y'all, that's everything. We got a lot of stuff going on. Next week, hey, send us your comments, your questions, stuff you want us to talk about. That topic particularly was on my heart.
Right. Yeah.
And I think we almost touched on everything on that board, but that was okay. Yeah. I just know one of the things I did learn is that when you talk about violence against black women, people get kind of quiet.
Yes.
Oh my God, we got to get on that topic too. That second topic.
Where
next
Michelle
week.
Obama said, I've been at a lot of powerful tables. I've been at a lot of powerful tables you can think of, and they aren't that smart. And I think that was great, but I always think people who run this country has never been smart. They've just been consistent.
Right.
I put that up there because I don't really think it's about you have to be smart to get to the powerful table. Mm-hmm. You have to be consistent and have loyalty.
Right.
And do what the hell you say you're going to do at those powerful tables.
Right.
Yeah.
Never about being, that's a trick we learned. Mm-hmm. And we have probably more degrees than any other group, but that don't mean that means we're producing power.
Right.
We're just smart, or book smart, or, we know some stuff. But the powers that be, they've always been consistent on their program.
Right.
But we can talk about that next week. I just think that opens up a real, I love Michelle Obama, but I'll never think it's about being smart. I think it's about being a doer.
I think exactly. That's why I think that we should have the conversation.
I agree.
I think
we'll talk about that next week.
Okay. Thank you guys. I'm so happy to be here with my sisters, and happy that you guys take your time out on Sunday mornings to sit with us and to vibe with us and talk with us. We're just so grateful. It feels really good to be here. I look forward to sitting with my sisters. Oftentimes we're all so busy. This is the time we get to chop it up. Yeah. So sometimes you see us where it just seems like we chopping it up. Sometimes that's really what we really doing.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
But y'all be kind to each other, be good to each other. Remember, this is the holidays. We're in the time of the winter. People get a little bit more depressed. People get a little bit more lonely. Go see about that elder, that friend. Check on that young person at school. They look like they're a little withdrawn, a little quiet. They're full of life. Or even if they're not, they just quiet. Talk to them. Be their friend. Give them some kind words. Say good morning, beautiful. Say good morning, sweetheart. Go say good morning. Lift their day up. Because you just never know. You really could be saving somebody's life.
Right.
And see about yourself.
Most definitely.
Ooh.
See about yourself.
How you see about yourself?
Take care of yourself. Take time with yourself. Just take out time with yourself. And I'm saying this because I'm talking to me, but
take time with yourself.
Yeah.
Take time with yourself.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I
see about yourself.
It's called that self-care.
Yeah, and then replenish back into yourself.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You are important.
Absolutely.
We are.
No.
We are the children.
Let's
remember that song?
We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making.
Oh yes, go ahead.
We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a brighter day. Just you and me. Bye, y'all.
Peace, family.